Hello everyone, my name is Marissa Redenbaugh and I'm your Juvenile Services Librarian. Today I will be reading to you about books from this week's theme, President's Day. Let's go ahead and get started. The first book we have today is called President's Day by Anne Rockwell and pictures by Lizzie Rockwell. President's Day is when we celebrate the birthdays of George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. They were both born in February, many years ago. They were both very great presidents of our country, the United States of America. Grown-ups vote every 4 years to choose the President of the United States. Each person votes for the person he or she believes will make the best leader. They don't all agree, so whoever gets the most votes becomes president. We decided to put on a President's Day assembly program, telling the rest of our school some things we learned about some of our presidents. We worked hard getting ready, painting and cutting, stirring and cooking flour paste, and tearing strips of newspaper for paper mache. Sam, Evan, Sarah, and Machiko wore the mountain of paper mache we made. Hello, everybody. We are Mount Rushmore, they all said all together. The faces of George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln are carved 60 feet high on our hard granite cliff. Now, each of these presidents will tell you about himself. I was George Washington. That's because my birthday is the same as his. I was born on February 22nd, 6 years ago. But George Washington was born more than 200 years ago. Good morning, I said in a deep voice. I led the American people when they fought to be free from the King of England. We won, so I was elected the first president of a brand new country called the United States of America. Abraham Lincoln was very, very tall, and Charlie is the tallest kid in our class. I am the 16th president of the United States, he said. I kept the United States together when it split in two. I said, a house divided against itself cannot stand, and I meant it. We fought a long war to keep our nation together. That's why it's called the United States of America. United means many stick together like one. Nicholas is a good writer who can always think of just the right word. When he came on stage wearing a red wig with a short pigtail and back, he just sat at a desk writing with a pen made of a feather. Everyone waited patiently while he scowled and scratched his head, crumpled pieces of paper, and tossed them into the wastebasket. Finally, he cried out, "At last! It's done!" He stood up, bowed to the audience, and said, "Good morning. My name is Thomas Jefferson, 3rd President of the United States. I wrote something called the Declaration of Independence, and that told why we wanted to be free from England. It's pretty good, if I do say so myself." He started to read what he wrote, but suddenly Jessica came galloping out on a hobby horse. "Good morning," she shouted. "My name is Theodore Roosevelt, but you can call me Teddy. I'm the 26th President of the United States. When I was a kid, I was sick a lot and couldn't go out to play. But when I grew up, I was healthy and strong and loved the outdoors. I wanted a lot of this big, beautiful land to always be wild. That's why we set aside more land to be national parks where plants and animals could always be wild." Pablo and Eveline came out on stage carrying the long mural we had painted of giant redwood trees, the Grand Canyon, Old Faithful spouting, and animals in the Everglades. The rest of us joined them. Mount Rushmore, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, and Teddy Roosevelt on his horse. We bowed while everyone in the audience clapped for a long time. Back in the classroom, we had an election. Everyone wrote the name of someone who'd make a good leader on this piece of paper. I wrote Pablo's name because he's smart and never mean. We each put a piece of paper in a box. Mrs. Madoff counted the votes. The person whose name appeared most often would win the election. Guess what? I won. Just like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, Teddy Roosevelt, and today's President of the United States. Now I'm the president of Mrs. Madoff's class. When I grow up, I want to be the first woman president of the United States of America. Wouldn't that be great? After all, I have the same birthday as George Washington. These are the 4 presidents they were talking about earlier. I enjoyed that book, and I hope you did as well. Now, the next book is going to be a little sillier. It's called Duck for President by Doreen Cronin and Betsy Lewin. Running a farm is very hard work. At the end of each day, Farmer Brown is covered from head to toe in hay, horsehair, seeds, sprouts, feathers, filth, mud, muck, and coffee stains. He doesn't smell very good either. The animals have chores to do too. Pigs, clean under the beds. Cows, weed the garden. Sheep, sweep the barn. Duck, take out the trash, mow the lawn, grind coffee beans. At the end of each day, the pigs are covered in lint bunnies, the cows are covered in weeds, the sheep are covered in dust. And Duck is covered in tiny bits of grass and espresso beans. Duck did not like to do chores. He did not like picking out tiny bits of grass and espresso beans out of his feathers. Why is Farmer Brown in charge anyway? Thought Duck. What we need is an election. He made a sign and hung it up in the barn. Farmer Brown must go. Farm election tomorrow. The next morning, Farmer Brown found a poster on his front door. Vote Duck for a kinder, gentler farm. Farmer Brown was furious. He ran to the barn and found the animals registering to vote. The mice got together and protested the height requirements, so Duck crossed it off. It used to say, voter registration, voters must live on the farm, show valid ID, be at least this tall. But then the mice got mad. They crossed it off. On election day, each of the animals filled a ballot and placed it in a box. The vote was counted, and the results were posted on the barn wall. F. Brown, 6. Duck, 20. Farmer Brown demanded a recount. One sticky ballot was found stuck to the bottom of a pig. The new tally was F. Brown, 6. Duck, 21. The voters had spoken. Duck was officially in charge. Running a farm is very hard work. At the end of each day, Duck was covered from head to toe in hay, horsehair, seeds, sprouts, feathers, filth, mud, muck, and coffee stains. Running a farm is no fun at all, thought Duck. That night, Duck and his staff started working on Duck's campaign for governor. Duck left Farmer Brown in charge and hit the campaign trail. He visited small-town diners. He marched in parades. He went to town meetings. He gave speeches that only other ducks could understand. On election day, the voters filled out their ballots in booths all over the state. The vote was counted, and the results were posted in the local paper. Ms. Governor, 299,999. Duck, 300,000. The governor demanded a recount. 2 sticky ballots were found stuck to the bottom of a plate of pancakes. The new tally was Ms. Governor, 299,999. Duck, 300,002. The voters had spoken. Duck was officially in charge. Running a state is very hard work. At the end of each day, Duck was covered from head to toe in hairspray, ink stains, scotch tape, fingerprints, mayonnaise, and coffee stains. He had a very bad headache. Running a state is no fun at all, thought Duck. That night, Duck and his staff started working on posters for the presidential election. Duck left his staff in charge and hit the campaign trail. He kissed babies in local diners. He rode in parades. He gave speeches that only other ducks could understand. He even played the saxophone on late-night television. On Election Day, the voters filled out their ballots in booths all over the country. The vote was counted, and the results were announced on CNN. Mr. President, 50,546,165. Duck, 50,546,170. Duck defeats president. The president demanded a recount. 10 sticky ballots were found stuck to the bottom of the vice president. The new tally was Mr. President, 50,546,165. Duck, 50,546,180. Duck still defeats president. The voters had spoken. Duck was officially in charge. Running a country is very hard work. At the end of each day, Duck was covered from head to toe in face powder, paper cuts, staples, security badges, Secret Service agents, and coffee stains. And he had a very bad headache. Running a country is no fun at all, thought Duck. Then he checked the help wanted ads. Duck needed. No experience necessary. Must be able to mow the lawn and grind coffee beans. Duck left the vice president in charge and headed back to the farm. At the end of each day, Farmer Brown is now covered from head to toe in hay, horsehair seeds, sprouts, feathers, filth, mud, muck, and coffee stains. And Duck is working on his autobiography. That silly, silly Duck. All right. Our next book is a bit more informational and is called Why Do We Celebrate President's Day? By Patty Swinton. And this book can be found in the juvenile nonfiction section. President's Day is the third Monday in February. President's Day is a day to learn about American presidents. The president lives and works in the White House. It is in Washington, D.C. George Washington was our first president. He was born on February 22nd, 1732. The Washington Monument honors George Washington. It is the tallest building in Washington, D.C. President's Day also honors Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln was born on February 12, 1809. The Lincoln Memorial is also in Washington, D.C. Lincoln was America's tallest president. Mount Rushmore shows 4 American presidents. It is in South Dakota. America has had 45 presidents since 1789. How do you celebrate President's Day? I really like that book because it simplifies why we have President's Day and some interesting facts that you maybe would like to know. Our last book that we're reading today is another fictional story, and it's called Madeline at the White House by John Bemelmans Marciano. You may have read some other Madeline books, but I thought this one would be interesting for today. In an old White House in Washington, D.C., lived as lonely a girl as there can be. Her name was Miss Penelope Randall, but everyone always called her Candle on account of a wildly stubborn curl that like a flame would dance and twirl. She needed an appointment to see her father, but he always canceled, so why did she bother? She sat bored and alone at her desk and stool, the only student at the White House School. Secret Service Agent Downs made sure she never left the grounds. But life took a turn for the better when from her mother came a letter. It read, "Candle, my dear, I'm sorry to miss Easter again this year, but in my place I've arranged to send the daughter and classmates of a very good friend. Their old house in Paris is covered with vines, and they travel about in 2 straight lines. Their plane gets in at 9:30. The smallest one is Madeline." 11 girls were very shy, but Madeline looked her straight in the eye and said to Candle, "How do you do? It's very nice to be meeting you." The girls were taken to their quarters. "Time to unpack," were Miss Clavel's orders. Madeline's bag contained a big surprise. A rabbit, or rather, a friend in disguise. Madeline's magician had stowed away to join them for the holiday. The girls all cried, "Hip, hip, hooray!" and went to Candle's room to play. The girls bid good night to their new friend. Candle was sad that it had to end. She went to bed without delay. She could hardly wait for the following day. The White House Easter celebration is the most fun festival in the nation. They hunted Easter eggs at noon, and then they rolled them with a spoon. Ice cream pie and chocolate cake can lead to quite a tummy ache. Madeline asked, "Would it be all right if I stayed in Candle's room tonight?" Miss Clavel weakly nodded, "Yes." Her stomach, too, was in distress. "Just go to sleep early, that's a warning. Our plane leaves first thing in the morning." They played dress-up, cards, and had a lark, and told scary stories in the dark. But when the cuckoo sang the hour, the frolicking mood turned quickly sour. The night, where could it have gone? All too soon would come the dawn. Madeline would soon be leaving. Oh, how Candle started grieving. The poor girl cried, "Boo-hoo! Why can't I fly away too? Outside my window the world looks pretty, but I've never even seen the city." The rabbit took this as his cue. A magician knows just what to do. He raised his arms like a candelabra and chanted the word abracadabra. The rabbit conjured something awesome, a magic tide of cherry blossom. Had 2 girls ever flown so high up into the starry sky? The rising sun erased the moon. Miss Clavel would wake up soon. But on and on they tempted fate. They were almost home. Perhaps too late. From the hall outside, Miss Clavel knocked and tried the door, but it was locked. "Are you there, Madeline?" "We're in a hurry," said Miss Clavel, quite sick with worry. Agent Downs, a good bit bolder, broke the door open with his shoulder. The girls they saw were fast asleep, but there was a schedule to keep. Miss Clavel said, "Madeline, make haste. We haven't any time to waste." To say goodbye is always sad, but coming home is never bad. Miss Clavel came in that night and checked the girls by candlelight. To all the beds she walked around to see the girls were safe and sound. Then with a smile she closed the door. That's all there is. There isn't any more. I hope you enjoyed that final book about our theme this week, President's Day. And next up will be Racheal, and she'll come on to explain to you this week's craft.
Hi friends, I hope you enjoyed the stories for President's Day. You have two options for your crafts this week. The first option for your curbside craft is a Lincoln log cabin. So in your kit, you'll get a full blue sheet of paper, a little green rectangle, and then a black rectangle piece of paper. And then you'll also get some craft sticks and a penny. So the first thing you'll do is you'll lay out your blue paper so that it looks like the sky background. And then I would glue the green strip next to look like the grass. And then you can put your first popsicle stick on top of the green strip and then keep stacking. Just glue them. And then before you get to the top two, I would get the black rectangle paper. So it'll look like this. And then you're going to want to cut a triangle out of this rectangle. And then you'll also want to cut a little square out of whatever's left over of the rectangle. And then before you glue these top two here, I would glue down the triangle of the black paper so that you can put these two on top of the triangle. And then you'll want 2 more popsicle sticks for the sides of the triangle. Then the little square that you cut out, you'll glue somewhere on the popsicle sticks so that it looks like a window. Then you'll take your penny and you'll glue that on top of the black square so that it looks like Abraham Lincoln is looking out the window. Then your printable option is similar. It looks about the same, but it's all from the paper that you print out. So when you cut out your rectangles, I would cut so that there's this white piece still attached to the rectangle that you cut out. So don't just cut along the black lines. I would cut along only one black line and then leave this white space and then cut this black line so that you have that extra piece so it's easier to stack your rectangles on top of each other when you glue them, so you have a little piece to glue on. But before you cut anything, I would go ahead and color first. It's just easier that way. So once you've stacked all these and glued them on, then you'll glue on the triangle on the top, and then you'll cut out your square just like for the window on the other one, and you'll glue that down, and then you can glue your little penny so it looks like, again, Abraham Lincoln's looking out the window on this one too. So those are your two options for your crafts. Thanks for joining us for our stories and crafts, and we'll see you next time.